Hi, my name is Matt Lane, and today we're going to be talking about how to protect your family. Imagine this: the last 30 seconds of your life, you have your family right next to you, and you have the opportunity to express how much you love them, not only from an emotional standpoint, but also from a financial standpoint. Now, that can be difficult to do if you only have 30 seconds to live. You might be able to get through the emotional part, but how do you tell your family you love them from a financial level? Well, the answer is found through life insurance. At the end of today's discussion, you'll have a good idea of how to formulate how much life insurance you might need and why it might even be applicable to you, no matter if you're married or even if you're single. Life insurance is important and something that you should get. Now, the first question that you might have is, how much life insurance should I have? Well, just last month, February 28th of 2025, Pat Howard from Investopedia came up with a simple formula to help people understand how much life insurance they might need. So let's add up the numbers. The first thing that people typically want to do if they were to pass away is they want to cover any debts that they might have so that their family doesn't have to pay those off. So for this example, let's think that someone has a mortgage of $500,000. Okay. Now, the second thing that people typically want to do, according to Pat, is they want to pay for their kids' college. Imagine that you have two kids. College costs $25,000 per year. So if you have 4 years of that and two kids, that's $200,000 right there. That brings our grand total to $700,000 so far, with paying off the mortgage and then paying for kids' schools. Now, is there anything else that you might want to cover? Well, Pat also comes up with a good point. Pat talks about how replacing income is also important to most people. Because imagine this: if your spouse passes away and you have to stay home and raise kids, you might not be working as much as you were before, or you might even stop your job altogether to help take care of the family. This is called income replacement. So imagine that you want to leave your family with your salary for 10 years. So imagine you make $100,000 a year, and that's 10 years you want to leave them. So that's $1,000,000 that you need right there. But then let's also add in the college expenses, which was $200,000. And then you add on the mortgage, that's another $500,000. So now you have $1.7 million that you need if you were to pass away. Now, unless you have that sitting in a savings account, the life insurance starts to make a lot more sense. Now, often people will say, well, I don't need life insurance yet. I do see the need, but I'm single, I'm young, I'm healthy. It might not make too much sense. If you look at the graphic that I've attached to this speech, you can see that just a couple days ago, March 16th of this year, 2025, Laura Gunn, she is a insurance and financial expert. She has a great graph to show how much insurance costs as your age increases. For example, someone who's 30 years old, if you want $500,000 worth of coverage, it's less than $20 a month. But you can see as you get into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, the insurance becomes quite a bit more expensive. And something that you also need to keep in mind is that, well, look at it from the insurance carrier's perspective. Let's say if you're really young and healthy, they're probably going to give you a great rate because of your health and your age. But imagine if you've had cancer a few times and a heart attack, they might even go ahead and decline you and not even give you a policy. And those are the ages when you really need it the most. So often, what makes sense to most people is they think, you know what, I could get some insurance for $20 a month while I'm young. It makes sense. Let's go ahead and do that. So at the end of the day, these two reasons are really why people get life insurance. People will get life insurance because they realize they want to cover things like a mortgage, college, they want to cover lifestyle for their surviving spouse. And people also understand that, you know what, even if they're not married, it still makes sense to get a little bit of insurance, because if you're not married, then you're typically going to be a little bit younger If you're younger, you can typically get a great rate on life insurance. Look, 1 out of every 1 person dies. If you know that you're going to die, getting the insurance just makes all the sense in the world. So go out and protect your family and get life insurance.